Water is life. This is where we all come from. And to me, it is the source of all my inspiration. I grew up by the sea, and I always had a special connection to it. Hearing the melody of the water, it's where I feel my best. I studied environmental engineering and law with a deep desire to help protecting our ecosystem. I had a lot of fulfillment in my work. I worked as a sustainable sourcing manager for botanical and the perfume industry. I had various projects going from sustainable agriculture to forest management to environmental law or even human and labor rights. In the last couple of years, I've also been working on marine resources, particularly algae, as it has increasingly been used by the cosmetic industry. And this opened a whole new perspective to me because turns out the marine resources are quite different from the one coming from land. And the more I learned, the more enthusiastic I became. I started to read books, to go to conferences. This eventually led me to create specific guidelines for marine resources inside of my company. But it's a complex subject. And it was only a small percentage of my work. So I decided to take a break. I did the only reasonable thing to do. I filled up a backpack and left to South America. And during this year, I had the chance to go to the Galapagos. I spent a lot of time with locals, learning about how they were affected and how the island changed when Ecuador decided to transform the Galapagos Island into a marine reserve and a national park. I was visiting Charles Darwin Museum and I came across a timeline of a conservation project. And that day, everything clicked in my mind. I knew I wanted to dedicate the next chapter to marine conservation. And that's how the Master of Science, especially the Blue Manager track, come into the picture. The transdisciplinary approach is the perfect blend to me to make the transition that I want. I will be delighted to join the Blue community and grow together. Now that I've just told you my story, there is a much more important one that I want to tell you, and this is the story of the ocean. I'm going to take you to Puerto Rico, and more specifically, the northeast part of the island, where it's located a very special marine corridor. In a quite small area, I concentrated a wide array of ecosystems, going from mangrove forest, wetland, lagoon, seagrass bed, shallow and deep coral reef, nesting beaches, you name it, they have it. In other words, the perfect mix to support life, including rare endemic species. But there is a problem here. Even though marine protected areas have been designed to cover important coral habitat, and the corridor has been recognized as a culturally and economically important resources, the region has experienced significant declines in key habitats, leading to more and more endangered species, and a decline in the fish species local people heavily depend on for food. Why? The answer is multifaceted. Locals not only depend on marine resources for food, they also depend on it for financial gain. According to the US Bureau of Labor, this region has the lowest income in Puerto Rico, which is putting a huge economic dependency on marine resources. Outside the marine protected area, different stresses are at play that affect negatively the system resilience and decrease connectivity between the marine protected area and the other area. We are talking mangrove deforestation or coastal development, unsustainable recreational and tourism practices, unsustainable fishing practices, and larger effects such as climate change and increased water temperature. We need to connect the dots. We have two problematics at play here. First, decrease anthropogenic stressors that fragment suitable habitat outside the marine protected area for sustaining the life cycle needs of fish. Because like me, they like to travel. And two, ensure sustainable local development and decent living wages. The good news is solutions exist, such as the consideration for land-sea connectivity by implementing terrestrial protected area as well, restricting large-scale commercial fishing combined by no-tech reserve, and much more. But this can only be done by connecting the scientific community to local groups in order to find long-lasting solutions beneficial for all.